A New Jersey woman fighting eviction decides that the best course of action is to blow herself up in a house full of cats. So basically, this is like a situation where eviction or evicting goes horribly wrong. Man, those poor cats. It was worse than a cat fight. A New Jersey's woman's fight against eviction ended in a deadly blaze Wednesday when she intentionally started a fire in the home she shared with dozens of cats and refused to vacate. The woman and dozens of cats died in the massive fire which broke out shortly after 11 a.m. in Roosevelt, authorities said. State police had served the unidentified woman an eviction notice, but she refused to leave and threatened to blow up the house. And if you end up like looking at this, like the house is just completely demolished, like 100% destroyed. I guess pretty crazy. Whew. Yeah, there's like nothing left basically standing. Man. We're getting reports that the resident turned on the gas of the residence prior to igniting, New Jersey State Police Lieutenant Lawrence Peel said, according to CBS News. Neighbors were evacuated while police had a standoff with the woman. Multiple fire departments responded to the home but were unable to get the woman out alive. No other injuries were reported. They knocked on our door this morning. Thank God it was a pretty loud knock. I grabbed my son. They told us to leave. She was threatening with a bomb or to bomb the house and ended up with a fire. One neighbor, Aaron Luca, told the outlet. The woman was the sole occupant of the house located on Cedar Court, and the once cat filled home is completely charred and attached home is unlivable. Wow. Interesting. So apparently, the eviction note outside of the house says unsafe structure placard. This building is declared unsafe for human occupancy. No individual is to occupy this building until the structure is rendered safe and secure. Interesting. And apparently that was like I guess before she blew up the whole thing. Um, so Emma Quackenbush, who lived in the attached unit for 22 years, told New Jersey 101.5 she had lost everything in the fire. It looks like my house is gone. It's still standing, but it's not livable, Quackenbush said. Other neighbors gathered outside the scorched residence told the radio station that the woman's boyfriend had been trying to evict her for several years, but his efforts were hindered temporarily by Governor Phil Murphy's pandemic era eviction moratorium. So Roosevelt Mayor Peggy Malkin told the Osbury Park Press that the woman was a pet sitter and had built a cat house for the animals to live in separately. It's unclear how many cats perished in the flames. PSE&G was excavating at the scene overnight as authorities continue to investigate, and officials are asking people to stay away from the home as its structure is not secure. Let's see some of these comments because this is pretty crazy. Anybody with that many cats has got to be half crazy already. They didn't say how many cats were in the house. She wasn't crazy, she was evil. The thing is, yeah, if you start to see a person who's living by themselves just start building up like a massive, massive stockpile of cats living with them, and you know that the house probably smells like cat pee, smells like cat poop, like the whole house is already destroyed because of the amount of cat junk everywhere. Like, man. So let's see. This person says, I don't know what's most disturbing. She blew herself up. She blew up her own cats. She may have blown up other people's beloved pets. She was a cat sitter. She destroyed a house that didn't belong to her. She made it impossible for her next door neighbors to live in their house. I'm speechless. And this person says, only an evil person does what she did. Yeah, see, like the thing is, it's like I think this is like a mix between being evil and also having like just completely zero empathy towards any other living thing. Like, man, how many cats did she destroy? Fire insurance, anyone? The thing is, I don't even know what would even be covered in this type of situation because this is someone that literally caused like massive damage to probably multiple properties. Next time, have the utilities shut off. Cat hoarder. Poor cats. Of course, she had to take them out with her. Won't miss the deranged cat maniac, but I hope that poor landlord had insurance. I mean, hopefully. But even so, would the insurance even pay out in this situation? Let's see, doesn't pay to rent or lease a home nowadays to people or even close friends, family. Some states, especially blue states, it's nearly impossible to evict them. I had three small condos on Long Island, not expensive ones, but luckily I sold all three before I moved to Florida right before the pandemic. I would have had to abandon them since, in all likelihood, the tenants wouldn't be paying rent, and I couldn't afford the monthly charges plus taxes on all three while no income coming in. Terrible way to do business. Yeah, I think like a lot of what a lot of people don't understand is that that whole like rent moratorium or whatever, renters moratorium, eviction moratorium, whatever it was called, really screwed over pretty much anyone who owned real estate that rented it out. Because if you were a small family that like simply had to move and then started to rent out the house to try to like not lose everything that they had, try to at least save some money, try to make some money, kind of like break even because you were forced to move for whatever reason, and then this sort of thing happens, the moratorium, you're basically like digging yourself into a massive hole. And then imagine you're like 20 grand like out of pocket to pay for the mortgage that someone else is living inside your home now, and that person then decides to just blow it up after that. So you're down 20K plus the equity that you had in your home, not to mention you still got a mortgage on the home, not to mention the tenant potentially did even more damage than just to the home, probably to the land as well. And not to mention whether or not your house insurance will actually even pay out to cover the cost of fixing the home or just to give you money to basically pay off the debt that you still probably had on your home. Let's see, I mean, this is very sad. Obviously, there were mental health issues at play, and I feel bad for the cats. I love both cats and dogs. I own my house, no bank or tax liens, but I know I would be frantic if I was served an eviction notice. Where would I go with two dogs and two cats? I could see desperation driving someone to such a drastic action. Like, I understand that, right? But at the same time, this individual had like years, right? Years where they were not paying any rent. So, where did all that money go? They could have used that money and just moved to a different location or actually paid the rent, you know? Let's see. So this person says, on the story of that tenant who wasn't paying rent and living with dozens of cats, she did her landlord a big favor by setting the house on fire. Now the landlord will have this house fixed by the insurance company and have his house back vacant. From my experiences being a New York landlord, this landlord must be so happy now. Congratulations. But this other person, in response, right, says fat chance she may need to fight the insurance company as they often reject valid claims. As well, getting insurance to cover the items in the house lost is never easy, nor does it usually cover the items 100%, unless you had a detailed itemization of everything. Even if they do cover the claim, rarely do homeowners come out on top. Interesting. Feel free to give your thoughts about this. If you want to learn how to get out of debt, go down below.